you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for your patience, all of you. All right. So what we were saying is to bring the records directly list down and filter down to 10 records is not possible. So we will have to derive a glide record script, right? So probably from a bunch of 100 records, we will have to filter down the records, take them, select them, and pick them, and then parse it to them to our final query. Our final query is nothing but current.add query. So what we want is list of records, the selected shortlisted records. But now how are we going to shortlist, right? In order to shortlist, we need to go to the table, run up filter, we have to put a set limit, and we will have to iterate through each record and bring each record sys id. Either you can bring 6 ids or else you can bring numbers also, right? Instead of bringing sys id, I'll put number. But when you put number, what you have to do is you have to make sure here also you change it to number, because here you're retrieving the data of number, right? So in the filter also final query, you have to put number is one of so and so. Now, so we have seen 10 records, but it is not sure that whether we were able to see only the recent 10 or the old 10. It could be a mixture of anything. So how do we restrict it to recent 10? We have restricted it to 10, but how do we make sure that those are recent? So we will have to do geo.order by. So order by represents ascending, order by DESC represents descending. So we'll do descending order, and we will use number field. Instead of using, we can use created on, opened on, anything, but for now we will just use number, or else let's put created on only. Why? Because is when you put number, what happens is all the incident numbers will come on the top, and then change numbers will come on the top, incidents will come on the bottom, right? If you see alphabetical order, C comes before I, right? And problem tickets will come on the last. So it will, if you order by descending based on numbers, it will be restricted to only certain list of specific task based records. Instead of that, you want to see all the task based records, but only based on a date or a time field. Then let's put this one. Okay, so I'm going to save this record, and we'll do a refresh here. So previously it was showing combination of CHG, GAPR, and all of that. Now you can see, I'll show you the created field. Okay. So the recent as in, it says 7 months from now. Don't worry about this. It's showing the future records. Is basically any system should not show created as in future, right? But this is a demo instance, and all these data are demo data populated by ServiceNow. So that is why you're able to see the future data. Otherwise, in your original company instances, you will not see something anything weird like this. But you understood, right? It filtered down based on the available bunch. It filtered down based on Z to A. So the recent ones. Any questions on this?
So if we choose applies to table as incident, uh,
Mm.
then what will be the parent dot sysid? Will it be parent
Okay.
dot caller?
Okay. Let us put incident. Now we've changed it from user table to parent. And now, yeah, parent dot caller or parent dot opened by. Either you can, parent represents incident. Okay. Now, so incidents opened by or incidents caller, whichever you want to apply. After that, yeah, everything else is same. And after saving this, you will no longer be able to see that related list on user table. You will be able to see it on incident table only, right? Now you remember that I told you a shortcut about this var gr, right? So I'll give you another place where these are stored. So in left navigation, you have something called syntax editor macros. So here out of box means as a package, ServiceNow gives you some shortcuts and the script for that. You can also create your own ones. So when you put BAR and you press tab, in keypad you have this tab tab, right? So automatically this script gets auto populated. And same wise, if you put FOR and if you put tab, see what did I do? FOR and I press tab. So I can see this script got populated. So from where it's getting populated is from this place. Similarly, info. So these are nothing but shortcuts, right? Like that, you can create your own shortcuts also. Like that, I can put where ABC and I can put. So wherever you feel like you want to print this bunch of text, this will work only in script section. So you just put where ABC and you press tab. What happened? I'll do a reload form. All right. Right. So I did where ABC and I pressed on tab. So this whatever I pasted up here, it comes up here. So these are the shortcuts. You can create your own shortcuts as well, and you can just go through the existing shortcuts that were created, out of box. If there isn't any question further to relationships, we can jump into our next topic, SLA definitions.
So do we use this regularly, this code, this type of
Uh,
related lists
if you are in a job of
in
administration,
real time
yeah,
project? Yes.
yeah. If you're in a job of administration, you would not require. But if you're in a job of developer, this is like step one. Without this, you will not be able to do anything.
Okay.
Writing
Right.
a glide record
And
is
what
very
admin
important.
will
I will repeat it again. Okay, what are the operations of admin? Okay, uh,
yes, yes.
okay. See, so far in our first 10 classes, you would have seen like when we change this field, this changes UI policy. We have created dictionary entries and all of that, right? So, very less coding or no coding, do the configuration changes, right? Changing some system configuration of people, changing branding editor, and scheduling clones, migration. Migration is very important role of a admin, like moving update set from one instance to other, retrieving update sets. So all these are roles of admin. But scripts might look a little complicated at first, but if you see, this is like one formula here. If you remember this formula, you can apply it everywhere. So just put some efforts on remembering this. For that only I explained you each and every line. Meaning this one is nothing but equivalent to going to a table. First, if you want to look at 10 records, let's say I'm saying that, hey, can you get me 10? Okay, let's say I'm telling you that I want to see the list of 10 email records, 10 user records wherein email starts with AB. Oh, we've only 135. Okay, anyways, everything has more than 25 records. Fine. So I'm telling you that I want to see the list of user records wherein email starts with KR. So this is the requirement, let us say. So what you would do is, uh, if you were to do it manually, what you would do? First, you will go to sys underscore user dot list, right? This is the first step. How do you write that in code? Now, var user, just any keyword, USR or UR, anything. It can be any name, variable name, is equal to new, because I'm going to type it new, right? Like in your memory, just put it like that. I'm going to type it new, so it's called new glide record. So this is a function. It is important that you have to write it like this. First letter has to be capital and second letter also has to be capital. It's not like camel case or small letter, fully capital, nothing. So each of the first words starts with capital. And then open parenthesis, close parenthesis. And inside that you put your table name, which table you want to go. Right? Now we have gone to this table, job done. Next, what you will do? You will open up the filter, right? So how do you open up the filter in script? User. So that filter has to be opened on this table, right? So this table going forward will be called as right? USR dot filters, in another words called as query, right? So I'm gonna add query, right? Otherwise, you can also put add encoded query. Both are same but with small difference. So I just give enter, and here in either single quotes or double quotes you put it like this, and whatever filter you want to put, like email starts with, what did we discuss, KA, right? Email starts with KA, so I do right click copy query. So whatever I obtained it from there, I will paste it up here. Email starts with KA. You do not have to worry about this keywords, nothing, just do a copy paste. Job done, right? Next, just entering the filter as email starts with will not give you the result. You have to click on run button. Now in script, how do you click on run button is usr dot query. This is nothing but translating as clicking on run button. Okay, done. Now you're obtained the records, but you need to visit each and every record, right? So how do you visit each and every record? Then you have to put while usr dot next, as in you're iterating through next record. At that time, what I want to do, like basically I want to print the list of names, like let us say variable names is equal to empty. So I'll put names plus equal to gr dot name. Sorry, not gr, usr. Here we are using usr, right? Usr dot name. Your name represents this name. If you see the backend name of this one, it is nothing but name. So I'm putting like this. And once I obtain, I want to use a concatenation with a comma. Okay. So how many records are there? 10 records, right? So finally, in my names array or variable, I will have everything. So finally, I want to print them all. So this is a script that we have written. Let us see if that script is working or not. So how do we see is copy it, put it in background script. Like if you were working on some commands or something, you will have your own command console, right? Similarly, in ServiceNow, you have your command console. In left navigation, you have to type BACGR, background scripts. There's something called system definition. Under that, you have background script. So right away, go into that and put up your script here and give run. So it gives you all those 10 names separated by comma. Karen, and then again a different Karen, and Carla, Karen, Casey, right? So all these are people who has email ID starting with KA, and we were able to see that these were the 10 records. So exact 10 records were printed up here. So this is a very simple glide record. You just try to practice this as much as possible. In this is like basic foundation. If you know this one, and everywhere you can just use the same thing, and 30% of development coding ends here, right? So this is definitely basic. Just write this 10 times for 10 different tables. It will automatically come to your memory. It's like a muscle memory they call, right? It will automatically come for you. All right. If there isn't any question, we'll jump into SLA definitions here.
So here one more question. If what we
Actually,
need
today's board was.
only
Mm,
what we need only five
mm.
records that starts with KA.
Okay. So as I told you, in that table you have to put set limit, right, of 5. Let's copy this, paste it. You see only 5 records, right?
Okay, got it.
All right. So we'll jump into SLA definitions then. Right. So we'll take something a recent one. So this incident 55 seems to be a recent one. All right. So if you see, I think in one of the previous session I explained to the specific batch, this priority field is never editable. It is actually dependent on impact and urgency, right? For example, you can't directly change your priority here. Instead, as you change your impact, right? I'm keeping my impact as medium, and I'm changing my urgency. Change my urgency to low, you could see that priority becomes low. Now, let's say urgency is low and I'll put impact as high. You can see it jump to moderate, right? P3, which is moderate priority. So you can see that as and when I change my impact and urgency, priority is getting changed. How is it getting changed? What is the backend configuration? If you ask me, so we have something called priority lookup rules. In left navigation under system policy rules, you have something called priority lookup rules. So this is where you define those rules. So I've opened this tab in for your easy access. We have some different set of 9 different combinations. I'll open one of these records. So we're saying the system that if impact is high and urgency is, put the priority as 1. We can also define if impact is medium and urgency is medium, define the priority as low. Like that we can give our own configurations. These are all admin related stuff, but it is not necessarily that only admin do, a developer will also do, right? So we have given different set of combinations, like um, when this impact and this urgency combines, it will become this priority. For example, I'll show you. Impact high and urgency low will end up in P3. Impact high and urgency low ended up in P3, right? So this is where you do all your configurations. Now, when does this order comes in place is the sequence of execution, which one to validate first and which one to validate second. For example, let us say for same condition, you have two different priorities defined unknowingly or for some reason. Based on your order, whichever has the least order that will run first, and whichever has the highest order that will run second. So whichever runs second, that will get overridden, right? That will be the final result. So order is important that way. But otherwise, if you have different set of combinations, you don't have to worry about the order. Any questions on priority data lookups? All right, if not, we'll jump into understanding how an incident SLA works, right? So whenever you change your priority, work notes are mandatory. So let's save this up. And we now see that the priority is right now P3. So you can see it in under task SLAs that there are several SLA definitions created. One says priority one resolution, Other one says priority 3 resolution, right? Let us understand how this data is visible to us. I'm opening each one of these records, right? So this one says resolution, the other one also says resolution. However, this says P3 and this one says P4. And you see data like business elapsed percentage, start time, stop time, actual elapsed time percentage, and all of that. So what are these, and how are these configured in the base system is the next question, right? So when we talk about SLAs, you have three types of SLAs. One is level agreement, the other one is operation level agreement, the other one is underpinning contract. In organizations, when you work on real time, you will use 80% SLAs, 20%, 15% OLAs, and underpinning contracts are like less than 5%. Uh, this is 80%, 20%, and again 10%. Keep it like that, okay? SLAs means, so let us say an example of somebody raises an instance that their Dell laptop is not working, okay? So I'm a normal user, I'm working from home, and I'm saying, hey, my Dell laptop is not working. So they say, oh, raise a ticket. So what I will do, I will go to ServiceNow, I will create an incident, and that gets assigned to help desk team. If you see in all companies, help desk is capable of resolving laptop issues to a certain level, right? Like configuration and all of that. So when I create a ticket and when help desk works for me, that is called service level agreement, meaning help desk is bound to work for me who is a user of the organization, who is an employee of the organization. So they're doing service, or they're doing some work, and there is an agreement for it. Like they will say, I will finish it up in 3 days because your urgency or impact is medium. So they will have their own definitions, right? Now, let us say at one point they identify, the help desk identify that no, this is not just configuration changes, there is some hardware issue, right? What they will do, they will not inform me. Instead, they will raise a ticket to hardware team who can repair, like, open up the laptop and fix things. So instead of telling me, they will open up a ticket to hardware team. Now, who is help desk and who is hardware? They are nothing but both are teams, but different teams, right? So when there is an agreement between two different operations, this is a different operation, that is a different operation, right? Help desk is a different operational team, and hardware repair team, right? You call it site IT, something like that. In it has its own name in each organization. So when there is a agreement between two different teams of the same organization, you call it as a operation level agreement, and it goes under the concept of OLA. Any doubts in understanding the difference between SLA and OLA? This you would use it real time, and this is one of the common questions in the interview. I'll repeat. I have a laptop issue. I'm a normal person, okay? I'm a normal person, and I want to raise this concern to the company so that they will fix it for me. So I'm supposed to raise a ticket, incident ticket. I'll say laptop issue. Any laptop issue ticket will go to help desk, because if it is a minor issue, some configuration changes or some system update, help desk itself is capable of doing it, right? So I'm a normal user, and help desk is one operational team inside the organization. So the agreement between the normal user and an operational team is what you call it as service level agreement, right? But after one day or after few hours, help desk identifies that, oh, I cannot work on it because there is some hardware issues. It is not just software, it is hardware. I need to take this to hardware team. Now, the help desk team goes and gets connected with hardware team, and they work together. Now, this help desk and hardware team are bounded by the contract, which is nothing but operation level agreement, because these are two different operation level teams, right? If I directly contact the hardware team, then it is called SLA. But if another technical team contacts another technical team, it's called OLA, right? If a normal user contacts in technical team, it's called SLAR. If one technical team contacts another technical team, it's called OLA. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay. So
So,
SLA is between. Yes.
ma'am, so we do raise some catalog request, right? That comes under OLA or what?
Come again.
So if we raise some catalog list for some like request for mouse, request for some assets or some kind of things, some
Yeah. So
service
that
catalog.
and all as yeah, service catalog and all comes under SLA only default. There's no concept of OLA or underpinning contract. You see nothing. Service catalog means that service itself. The word itself says service catalog, right? So it's comes under the concept of service level agreement.
Okay,
Okay, but when you raise an incident between two operation teams, one operation team is when I say operation, take it as technical team. Okay, one technical team is raising an incident to another technical team. So that you could regard it with OLA, operation level agreement, right? But service catalogs are completely SLAs only.
okay,
Now, the third thing is underpinning contract. So, what is an underpinning contract is, now let us say we gave laptop and help desks fixed a few software issue and they gave it to hardware team. So, we saw what is SLA, and help desk contacting hardware team and fixing that other few issues is OLA, right? Now in our own company, let us say I work for a company XYZ, and that company will also have an hardware team and they're also intelligent and they will fix a lot of hardware things, right? But there are very few things which they cannot do it by themselves. They have to contact the vendor. Let us say it is an HP laptop. Okay, they feel that, oh, it is not under my control, there is something else, miserably wrong. I have to escalate or take it to my vendor. Who's the vendor? HP. So they will raise a vendor ticket to HP. Now, this hardware guy becomes organization guy, and the vendor guy is become different organization. So a contract between one organization and its vendor organization is called underpinning contract, right? So SLA is between user and a technical team, tech team of same company. This is between one tech team and another tech team of same company, right? But UC is between one tech team and another team from different organization, specifically the other organization is a vendor. Vendor means people who give you supplies, right? Like let us say see, for us and all, like we are buying laptops, HP or Dell, whatever. We are buying 1 10 5 10 like that. But larger companies have like they will purchase 10,000 laptops, 20,000 laptops. So there is always a vendor and company level contract. So that contracts in organization structure you called as underpinning contract. Underpinning contracts, right? Any questions? These are just theoretical knowledge, but it's important that you understand. Any questions? If not, we'll get into practical stuff. Right. Okay. Now, so we have given the definitions of what is the SLA, OLA, and UC. How do we configure these things, right? So in left navigation, you type SLA. Under system definitions. Okay. Under service level management, you have something called SLA, right? So this you have to open up. Service level agreement. So you can see the table name is contract SLA, right? You have to create a new SLA definition. Actually, out of box, there are several SLA definitions for incident table, but I'll show you, I'll create a new one and show it for you. So here you can give it like P3 um, moderate um, 36 hours resolution, right? Now, so I was talking about SLA, OLA, and underpinning contract, right? So this is where you define it. But the entire process is same. Like if you change it to SLA or OLA, it's not like this field is going to change nothing. Every setup is same, just that you define and categorize whether this is an SLA or OLA or underpinning contract. So now we'll put this as SLA, and there's a drop down called target, right? Whether this is a response or resolution. Let me explain you what is response and resolution, right? When an issue is when an issue is arrived at service desk, now somebody has to acknowledge, right? In all organization, people will say, okay, even if you don't give a resolution, just acknowledge that you received an email. You remember, like your team leads or managers used to say that when you receive an email from a user that there's some issue, you do not have to give the resolution right away. At least just tell them, email acknowledge, we are working on it, right? So that is the response you give it to the user, right? So that is what you call it as the response. And once you take your own time, like 3 hours, 4 hours, after that you fix that issue. After that you'll send an email saying, I have fixed the issue. That is called resolution. You understand the difference between response and resolution, right? Now, how do we convert the terminologies into ServiceNow? When somebody is assigned to a ticket, when somebody is assigned to a ticket, it means that response SLA has been achieved, right? Response is done. When state changes to resolved, it means that the resolution is done, right? When assigned to is filled up, it means that response is changed to resolved, it means that resolution is done. Any question on identifying what is a response and resolution? Right. And this is the name just I gave it for our convenience. It can be anything. Some self-explanatory, meaningful sentence. And this SLA wants to be running on incident table, right? And of course, I want this to be running on across global applications. This is default. You do not have to change. Now, how many hours I'm going to give? Let us say I'm giving them, if it is a P3, I'm going to give them 36 hours. Sorry, it is 0. Okay, 3 days. 36 hours is 3 days, right? So I'll put 40 hours. So when I say 40 hours, 3 days and 4 hours, right? And the schedule sources, is it source as in like what is the what is the schedule? Like for example, if you click on, it will take you to a variable called same and underscore schedule. I will open up in this in a new tab and show it for you. So there's a table called schedules. You have lot of schedules defined. Like there's a schedule called 24/7. There's a schedule called 8 to 5 weekdays. I will show you what is an 8 to 5 weekdays. So as the name suggests, 8 to 5 weekdays, the configuration also will be defined for 8 to 5 weekdays. So you can see the scheduled entries. This is a schedule name. Under this, you have nothing important. You have something called schedule entries, which you have to be careful of. In schedule entries, also name. This name does not matters, but however, you will put a start date and you will put an end date, and you will see say how many times it repeats. So you say that it repeats every weekday, Monday to Friday. So you have several options like this: every weekday, Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So creating all of these schedules also is part of admin job, right? It doesn't involve any coding. So there are several schedules. For each schedule, you do not have to open the schedule and see. The name itself is a little self-explanatory. Let me open up this 8 to 5 weekdays, excluding holidays. So you can see same Monday to Friday 8 to 5, weekly on weekdays, fine. But this word excluding holidays, right? That is handled in the child schedule, meaning they maintain another schedule called US holidays, and they will identify the list of holidays that they have in the organization. Like for example, per year they have 12 holidays, and it will repeat every 1 year, right? So it repeats every year on December 25th, December 24th, like that. So 8 to 5 weekdays excluding holidays is that. So this schedule will be taken care, but if there is any holidays coming inside of this schedule, that day will be excluded. So when I put 3 days, right? So when I put 3 days, 8 to 5 weekdays excluding holidays, when do you think is my end day? Like end day for fixing this resolution. So let us say one SLA just got triggered now, and I have been given 40 hours. 40 hours, and I am following this schedule. So what do you think will be the best time for me to close the incident? It is before
On
40
Tuesday.
hours. What are we now? On Thursday, right? So let us consider Indian time zone only. We are 9 in the morning, right? With Thursday, 9 in the morning. So 8 to 5. Okay, so 8 to 5 is 9 hours, right? So 9 hours of today, again 9 hours of Friday, Saturday, Sunday not considered. 9 plus 9, 18. 9 hours of 27, 36. Okay, so 36, and again it will come somewhere in the first forenoon of Wednesday.
Yes, on Wednesday.
It, yes, yes. So when you give 36 hours, it doesn't mean that you have to finish in 3 days. It actually follows the schedule that you give. So in order to determine that, you have to clearly put what schedule you want. If you put 24 cross 7, right, then if you put 24 cross 7 and if you put 40 hours, just exactly calculate 40 hours from now. 24, it ends somewhere in the middle of Saturday, right? So accordingly you have to put your schedule. Now, so I was telling you that let us consider IST time zone, right? So what if somebody is from a different time zone? People work in an organization on different time zones, right? As in some people work from US, some people from UK, some people from India. Everybody has their own time zone. So which time zone do we have to follow? That is the next question, right? Then we will put either caller's time zone or task location time zone, caller's location time zone. So all of these is there. These are the available options. If you put SLA definitions time zone, here you define a static time zone, like you put Europe, Brussels. So you mentioned static, right? Regardless of whoever the caller is and whatever is the time zone, it will follow by default this one, right? So what else should I say? Okay, so instead of giving SLA definition, if you give no schedule, then it will follow a 24 cross 7. If you give SLA definition, you have to give what schedule you want. If you choose incident field, you have to choose. See here, you have list of available options here. Okay, we do not. Okay, so you have assigned to schedule, right? Meaning, for every user record, you will have a schedule mapped for it. So if you want to match that schedule, you will give it here. So this is all with regard to this, and this this is like enabling and disabling. This enable logging is for like developer, as in if there is some issue and you want to debug it, you just keep this debugging enabled. It's called debugging. So you keep this enable debugging, but generally we will not leave this enabled because this isn't anything complex to debug or anything. So we will leave always as such. And okay, so there now comes the other big point. When you want the SLA to be starting, and when you want the SLA to be paused, and when you want the SLA to be stopped and reset, right? So um, let us imagine this is a P4 response SLA. So as I told you, response SLAs will be triggered when assigned to is empty, right? Only okay, see, when a ticket is created, obviously assigned to will be empty, right? So at that time, you will start your SLA, and this SLA will be stopped when assigned to is not empty. So it will start when assigned to is empty and it will stop when assigned to is not empty. Any questions on this? Right. So let me explain you now resolution. When I'm explaining resolution SLA, I will also cover this pause and reset conditions. So this we will start the resolution SLA when assigned to is not empty, because the moment it was assigned to somebody, their time, their clock will start for them to work on. So they've got how many hours to work? 40 hours to work. So as soon as assigned to is filled up, how do you say assigned to is filled up? Is assigned to is not empty. At that time, the clock starts and it will only stop when state is one of resolved or closed. Okay, fine. As I told you in incident, we have a concept called on hold, right? On hold awaiting caller. So if there is an information pending from caller, we should not make the assignee worry. We should not make this person worry that, oh, my incident is running out of time and all of that. So at that time, we want the system to pause the clock. So we will put the pause definition as state is on hold, right? Now, whenever your state is changed to on hold and saved, at that time, that clock, wherever it is, it will pause. Now, the clock has to resume, right? So you will put your resume condition. State is not on hold and state is one of new or in progress. We will not consider resolve, close, or cancel because that we are considering it in stop condition, right? And now again, you have cancel conditions. So when state is cancel, we don't want the SLA to be running. We don't want the SLA to be closed also, because when the ticket itself is not being worked upon, it is cancelled. Why would you want to calculate the SLA, which we are going to define the SLA also to be cancelled. And reset is, yeah, let me give you this explanation. Let us say service desk works on this. Okay, service desk, this issue is about what? My laptop is not working and they're working on this. Now they identify that it is not a software issue. Beth Angeline is working on it, and Beth Angeline, identifies that it is not a software issue and it is a hardware issue. There are two things Angeline can do. Angeline can own this ticket. Own this ticket means keep this ticket as such and create a new ticket to hardware team, and which will follow OLA and parallelly follow up with that hardware team ticket, and whatever update they're getting from there, they will come and paste it here, and they will say to Carol that, hey Carol, I spoke to hardware team, they said so and so, blah blah blah. Otherwise, another thing service desk can do is, oh my god, I don't want this, let me give it to some other team. So what Beth Angeline do is, I don't want credit of this ticket, I will directly reassign this to hardware team. If they do like this, at that time it is gets assigned to a different person, David, right? Now, uh, Beth Angeline has already taken 30 hours of time. Now, is it justifiable that David Lou is given only 15 hours, remaining 15 hours? No, right? He needs his own 40 hours because just now the ticket got assigned to him. Now we can put reset condition. Res- reset, right? Wait, where is it?
Again, it got stuck.
Oh, is it not recorded so far? Hey, was it not recorded so far?
Yes, it's recorded.
Recording. Okay, because
Because
I just got a voice that your conference is now being recorded, so I got a little worried. All right.
no, it's being recorded, but screen is not visible. Now it's visible. Yes.
Sure, shouldn't be a problem. All right, thank you. Okay, so coming back to a reset condition, right? So as we told, when the ticket gets moved from one technical person to another technical person, it is not justifiable that they get the remaining SLA. They need a fresh set of SLA because they need their own time to work on it, right? So we will give reset condition, right? When assigned to changes from one person to other person, reset the condition. Now, what happens to the already existing SLA? To Beth Angeline, there is already one SLA running, right? So, do you want to complete that? You want to mark that SLA as complete, or you want to cancel the existing SLA? So this is what is your reset action. So we'll say give complete. See, when you give mark it as complete, it means that you're giving credit to the work they've done. When you configure it as cancel, we're not giving credit to their work, right? So all these, okay, now I have given you some scenario and all of that, right? Generally in organization it comes from business process owners. You do not have to worry about it, but you need to know when they ask you something, where do I change it? Oh, I have to change it here, I have to change here. So this is what you need to know. Fine, any questions on this? Okay, I will tell you what is an retroactive start. Okay, when they
Tell me
say
once
there is a
again about
retroactive,
reset conditions.
okay. Okay, so for 2 days, Beth Angeline has been working on, okay, and finally Beth Angeline feels, oh, I need my expertise, or it is a different thing. So Beth Angeline reassigns it to David Lu. Now, the total SLA for this is 40 hours. Beth Angeline has already taken 20 hours. Imagine. Now, is it good to give David Lu 20 hours or 40 hours? If we feel no, you should have only 20 hours, then we will not give any reset condition. But if the organization tells that no, no, we should give that next person full amount of time, like 40 hours means, then you have to define the reset condition. So in reset condition, we are defining that whenever assigned to changes, the SLA has to, the clock has to reset from starting. Like in phone or in your alarm clock, how do you do a reset, right? In stopwatch timer, like that, the clock gets resetted, but resetted as in the old clock does not get resetted. It creates a new entry. But now what happens to the old entry? You want to mark the old entry as cancelled or complete is the next question, right? So that you can define it here. You want to mark the old SLA as cancelled or complete, that you can define it here. Right? Okay. So there is the retroactive start and retroactive pause, right? So this will work based on retroactive start will work based on the reset condition, and uh, you will get to choose from where it has to start. Meaning you're giving 40 hours, right? 40 hours from created date, 40 hours from created date, or 40 hours from updated date, or again an extra 40 hours from actual end date, right? Now you're going to reset and you're going to define some hours. In that resetting also, that 40 hours you're going to calculate from created date or the last updated date, or you have several other date fields in incident. So everything shows up here. So people generally either keep a follow-up date or a last updated date. So the last updated will obviously be in the last 5 minutes or something. So a lot of organizations keep the set start to in retroactive start as last updated. Any questions with regard to how do we configure an SLA or OLA or underpinning contract? Everything is same. Configuration with everything is same with regard to the type, just that you need to categorize and understand from the business which contract is this. Any questions? All right. I can show you a sample incident, how things, what are the each component of an incident. So as I told you, there is a clock timer that it's running. So it gives you the names of the SLA definition that you have and what is the type and what is the target. Is it a resolution or a response? And what is the stage, right? Is it running or cancelled? Record, instead it is the result, meaning for this incident what is the scenario, what happened, that is the result.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, tell me.
The one which we create now, the one SLA
Hmm.
which we create now, is
Hmm.
applicable for that particular incident only. It
No,
is
no, it is
applicable for.
applicable. No, no, it is applicable for all incident table, like sorry, all
Okay.
records of the incident table. We will not create SLA definitions for each incident. For one day there
Mm-hmm.
will be 100 incidents, right? How can you create SLA definitions for each and every incident? We will create
Mm-hmm.
one configuration record, and as and when the conditions get satisfied, it goes and gets attached to the respective incidents. So as you said, this record, right, this result record applies to this incident only.
Mm-hmm.
Now in this data, I can show you what are the other fields that we have. So this SLA definition follows up a schedule of 8 to 5 weekdays, and the time zone is America's Los Angeles, and it is right now running. And there is a checkbox called breached. What is a breach, right? In general English language, breached means the time has elapsed, like crossed. So, for example, if I'm giving you a assignment, I'm saying that I need this to be finished by tomorrow morning 7 o'clock. If you finish it before 7 o'clock, good. It is not breached. If you finish it after 7 o'clock, or if you don't finish it, whatever it might be, then it is a breach, right? Because I have given you a time slot to finish this. You have taken more time than that to finish it or not finish it, whatever. So that is what you call it as breached.
Okay.
And now, whenever a new SLA gets triggered, can you mute your audio? Thank you. Whenever a SLA gets triggered, there is a start time and there is a breach time. Breach time, it will be marked only when the tickets attains the breach date. So for fresh tickets, you will not see this field populated. Only it attains the breach thing, it will get this populated. And stop time will get populated only when stage becomes either cancelled or complete. Until then it will be empty only. And actual elapsed time, there's a difference between actual elapsed and business elapsed. Actual elapsed will always calculate based on 24 cross 7. Business elapsed is based on what is the definition you gave. In this SLA definition you have given, based on caller's time zone, you want 8 to 5 weekdays, right? So business elapsed time will be calculated based on 8 to 5 weekdays only. So in general, if you see, it has taken 156 days, but actual business days, how many days it has taken is 42 days, right? So the same thing, they will also, this is all these things we do not have to do. I'm just trying to, um, like, I'm trying to do a split of to understand, like, I'm doing an autopsy of this particular record and telling you what, which means what, and how it works. All these are done by system. We are not doing anything. Our job is to create this SLA definition. This SLA definition only we will create. Otherwise, system will take care of everything, right from populating start date, stop time, breach time, as breached. All of this system will do. So as I told you, the difference between actual and business is actual follows 24 cross 7 schedule. Business follows whatever schedule that you have defined in your SLA definition. Now it not only calculates a number of days and um, days in hours past. Elapsed means like crossed. Elapsed means crossed. It also calculates the percentage. So for example, you are given how many, you're given one day, right? But you have taken 42 days. So it is in fact like in multiplied by 100, right? 42 multiplied by 100 precisely. So it comes to 4200. The percentage comes to 4200. And how much is the actual time left and elapsed time left? Nothing, because they've already got breached and it is already going beyond what is the given time. So business time left is also nothing, actual time left is also nothing. And you have something called show SLA timeline. So it will give you a schematic representation of what is the it will break it into chunks and it will show you how that SLA went so far. Please allow me a minute. Right, so this SLA timeline gives you a debrief of whatever happened, right? It says 142 days, right? So it shows your calendar representation of each and every day, but you don't have to worry. I mean, it tells you exactly on which day it got breached or on which day are you at currently and all of that, but you don't have to look at the expanded view of the SLA timeline. But looking at this itself will give you an idea of what is happening, right? Any questions of understanding each and every field? Any questions? If not, we're done with the SLA definitions. We'll get into the next topic. All right. Um,
So our job is to create SLAs only, right?
our
Developer
job
job
is to,
as a developer.
yeah, yeah. Our job is to create SLA definitions. In order to create, you need to understand some functional aspects of it, right? uh, I mean, they will not give you they will not give you please enter. They will not give you please enter table as incident. Please enter this as this. They will not give you direct or like a baby. They will not give you this thing. They will just tell you that hey, we want to create an SLA definition for a site IT team. You could use 2 days SLA. They'll give you only this. You will have to give them questions. Okay, when the SLA has to start and pause and stop. So you need to have some business understanding and technical understanding, right? So that is why I'm trying to explain what each field represents and what is the end output, like once incident gets created, what each field represents and all of that. Because when you work on your tool, it is important for you to understand how the tool is also for the end user, because end user might ask a general query question also. I don't understand what is this, like that they will ask. So you need to tell them like, okay, this is something, because that is part of tool administrations, right? All right. So any questions so far? Fine. So that is it for today with regard to SLA definition, and we saw something with regard to related list. So the next topic we could cover is import sets. Um, we have 20 minutes more for today's session. Would you like to take a 5 minutes break and come back? Just 5 minutes off from screen time, and we'll start at 9:45. What do you say? Precisely at
All right
9:45.
then. Yes.
All right, I'll go on mute, but the recording will still run. Make sure to be back at 9:45. Just keep your speakers on, probably, so that you don't miss it. Hey, hi guys. There. Yeah, okay, I can see Vishnu, Rahim, Manideep. All right, fine. So I hope all of us are here now. So finally, we'll go to import sets, okay? Um, yeah, so coming back to import sets, let me explain what is an import set, okay? So there are several ways you could populate a database, right? Meaning you can import XMLs, you can import Excel files, or you could connect it with other third party tools, and you could import the data on a scheduled basis. There are several ways, right? So I will show you how do we import the data through Excel. For example, let us understand that this new instance was purchased today, and the HR teams is telling you, hey, can you? I have an Excel of all the available employees of my organization. There's like 1 lakh employees. It is difficult for me to manually make an entry in the user table. Can you developers do a favor? Can you import this inside of ServiceNow? This is the ask from the HR team. Now, we will not be able to do a import, just right click and import. No, that is not possible. If they give us an XML data, then it's easier. What we do is generally we go to the specific table. It could be an incident table or user table, whichever table that they want to populate. We will do right click, import XML, job done, and we will attach the XML file. But if this is an Excel file, we have to make the system understand, okay, there is one column, this column has to be mapped to this field, this column has to be mapped to this field. All these you have to make the system understand, right? For this you require some development configuration. This is something very important, and all of you would have at least one task in a month like this. Not just manual upload. I will show you other. See, the basis I'm trying to explain you that how do you import data. That import data is via Excel, right? But not just an Excel file. It could be from third party machines, like third party database, like you have Active Directory, right? If you want to import user records from Active Directory, not an Excel file as such, but an Active Directory, or you have JDBC. So through a JDBC connection from other source, any other server or database, you want to retrieve some information. So all these you could do from using the input sets which we are going to learn today. So let me do a group by type. So you can see that there are 13 Excel files. Yeah, few Excel and few CSV files, and few JDBC data connections, and two LDAPs. So I will explain you what is a LDAP connection and JDBC. Everything follows a transform map and an import set. Please allow me for a second. I'm sorry. All right, apologies again. So as I told you, there are different types of data sources. Everything finally drops down to a concept called Excel and import set and transform maps. On top of it, there are some fabrications like what is the source of information. The source of information could be an LDAP, or the source of information could be a database, JDBC database, or the source of information could be an Excel file, right? I will teach you how do you handle with an Excel file. So once that is clear with you, in 10 minutes you can learn how to handle with the JDBC and an LDAP. That is not a big deal. The main component is you have to know the structure of how do you upload Excel file, develop configurations develop configurations on it, and transform the data to your ServiceNow table. Once that is done, developing the same on JDBC and LDAP, it's just a 10 minutes job. So having this in mind, listen to the next 7 minutes of this today's session clearly. So as I told you, let us take a very small example of user table. So trying to populate the informations of probably user ID, name, email, three fields for now, okay? So let an Excel file open. So you need columns, right? So probably I'll put name, username, and then email. These columns is fine for now. Let us upload only these three details. And I need to be sure what is the Excel columns that I give, right? And it is always important. First row is always first row of the Excel is always the header columns of your fields in ServiceNow. So name column, front end name is also name column, front end name is also name, back end name is also name. You see, back end name is also name only. So it's fine. Uppercase and lowercase doesn't matter. So I'll just put name. And same with email ID also. The front end name is also email, back end name is also email, right? Look at this. That is also fine. But what about user ID? Let me do a show matching. For user ID, the backend name is user underscore name, right? So it will be always better if I can put the exact names, user underscore name. Otherwise, you can also keep it like username, but after that, you'll have to be little careful in mapping the fields that I'll tell you. So let us say Lakshmi, Varun, Vinu, Vaishnavi, right? So username is LK123, VT456, VS789. Lakshmi dot snc at abc.com. Oops. Copy, paste, paste, search. Varun. Right, so this is the simple user data I have. Let us test it with only 3 records. It doesn't matter how many records you have. You can have lack of records in your Excel or 3 records. Everything follows the same logic. So let me do a save this file. User data demo snow. I'll go to my service now. First step is I will do load data. So because I'm trying to load the data, right? So I'll do load data. So it takes me to a page. And here, okay, there are 2 types of tables, right? One is your actual tables. The other one is called import set tables. What is an import set table is those tables are available for only admins, and these are also called as staging tables. I'll type it for you. Staging. Staging means like that is a middleman. Like you cannot directly upload your Excel data into user table, right? Instead of that, you want a middleman. You're saying that, hey, middleman, keep these files for some time, keep these records in your table for some time, and then can you just give it to user table, right? So that middleman is called the staging table. So that staging table has to have same set of fields, same set of table structure as same as your user table. But you don't have to worry that, oh, should I recreate user table? No, nothing like that. So what you have to do is it asks you whether the import set table, otherwise the staging table or template table, is it already available, or is it already available, or is it the first time you're trying to load this data? So I'm saying, hey, it's the first time, so please create a table for me. When you say create a table, don't worry, because this is called an import set table, and it will be available only for admins, and it is used only for this transformation process, like transforming data from Excel to transferring data from Excel to your main table. So I'll put import set staging. I'll just give a name, okay? Import staging user table, right? I can give any name, so I'm trying to give a sensible name here. So automatically it forms a backend name of the table. Job done. Now what is the what is the retrieval method of the data that you have? Do you have data source or file? It's asking. I'm saying right now I only have a file, so it's asking me to choose the file. So whatever the Excel file that we already have, I'm going to choose it, and then it asks us what is the sheet number, because Excel tends to have multiple sheets, right? So saying sheet number 1 and header row. Which one should do you want me to consider as column headers? I'm saying number 1. Number 1 is considered as first, the header columns. That's all, right? I'm giving submit. Before I give submit, let me show it to you. So I'm copying this backend email that was generated by the system. So I'm pasting it here and I'm putting .list. You remember a shortcut I told you? Like if you want to open up a table, let's say sys user table. So you always put sys underscore user .list in caps. So it opens up the table in new tab. Similarly, now in this page, I understand, oh, this is going to be a table. Let me open that table, right? So I'll paste it and I put .list and I open that in a new tab. It says that no, the page you're looking is not, we have not given submit and hence the table is not yet created. But now let me give submit. It will take a couple of seconds. After that, okay, so do you see the message? Creating table, u underscore import staging user. Yeah, table is created. Now if I refresh the same screen, it will say that K table is created. And how many fields did I put in here? I put 3 fields, right? You can see all the 3 fields would have been created on this table. Name, email, username, right? The other ones and all is like common. Like as I told you, in any table you will have fields like created by, updated by, like this. You will have the tables, and as a special, as a combo for staging tables, you will have fields like rows. Let me bring everything to the right for you to see. Among these, only the name, username and email IDs are the one that is created by us. Otherwise, updated, created by, everything else was created by the system. And each one has its own meaning. For example, there is one column called a row, right? There's one field called row. So it tells you in Excel you have rows 0, 1, 2 and all of that, right? So in Excel, what is your first row? First row is Lakshmi, Varun and Vaishnavi. So Lakshmi, Varun, Vaishnavi, right? Row number 0, row number 1, row number 2. So it gives you information that way. So like that, each one represents an item. Let me jump into the place where it said table created. So it said that 3 records inserted and no updates. In this table, it is a fresh table, right? So 3 records got inserted and that's all. And if you click onto this, it will take you to this table. And now that these records are in this staging table, you need to carry this and put it in your user table, right? That is the next main goal. Create transform map. Transform map means transform the information from staging table to main table. Since this is the first time I'm going to create transform map. If this is second time I'm doing the same job, I don't have to again and again create a transform map. Again, this table creation also happened because it is the first time. Second time I don't have to do this. I will click on create transform map. So I will just put map user data. This is just developer name, right? Anything you can put. So I know that staging table is this table and target table is sys underscore user. So I'm telling my system whatever data I have it in my staging table, I want to push it into the user table. Recording, all right. So there are other few fields here, don't worry about them right now. So these are the 2 mandatory fields, right? So I've done that and I'm doing right click save. I will explain the other fields later, but now you have something called automap matching fields and mapping assist, right? Let me show you mapping assist first. So when you click mapping assist, system asks you which field do you want me to map against which field. For example, these are the fields of your staging table. In that, especially you want name, uh, username and email, right? So this name you want to keep it, map it under, these are the fields, manager, middle name, notification password, employee ID, all these are fields of user table. In this I'm going to look for the field called name. That name and name got mapped. Username is nothing but user ID, right? Here, what do you call it? User ID. User ID. And for email, it's email only. Okay, so it is not mandatory that you should have the exact same name. You can have some dummy names also, but you'll have to be careful mapping the right way. You have to map it right, correctly here. Okay, this is one way of mapping. I'm doing cancel, I'm not saving. This is one way of mapping. And the other way is that uh, seeking the help of ServiceNow's intelligence to map it by its own. So we're saying auto map, auto map matching fields. So when we click that, let's wait for a second. It will automatically map fields. It will not ask our suggestions. It will automatically map fields. You can see that name got mapped to name, email got mapped to email. But you can identify that username did not get mapped, right? Reason is because as per ServiceNow's intelligence, it can see that, oh, name common, email common, but here it says username, but I cannot find any field that says as username in my user table, so it was not able to do it. So here you need mapping assist. So here you have to manually map your username with user ID, right? Same. Now you understood, right? So it is not mandatory that you have to put the exact names here, but if you put proper names, it's easier for you to do it when there are 100 columns, right? At that time, you don't have to worry about mapping assist. You can just leave it to the ServiceNow intelligence. It will map it by its own, right? You can see that this field gets mapped to this and all of that. Done. Job done. And you have a button called transform, which is nothing like run. So you click on transform. And it tells you that your imports a table this table is getting mapped to sys underscore user table using the transform map called map user data. So I'm saying yes, good, go ahead, transform, right? So I'll have to wait for a couple of seconds. I can now just validate in my user table that these three records should have been created. Okay, this you can ignore. It says 11 minutes from now, right? This is not ours. This is something from the demo data. This you can ignore. Ours is these three. You can see these three records that have been inserted on the table, right? What we showed is a very small example. Like this, you can load lakhs and lakhs of records. Now, as an exercise, you try to do this in your personal instance as well. Just get it started with. And tomorrow session, we will look at in detail about what each components represents and how better we can play with this import sets and what are the logics that we could put. And I will also finally explain about other types of data source apart from Excel, such as the JDBC data source and LDAP data source. Any questions for today?
So once we have added, you have added only three lists, right? Three lists, right?
Correct. Correct.
Only three user details. What if you want to add more details after importing?
After importing, if you want to add, you create a new Excel, or you just put 100 records, 200 records here, and do the same procedure. Now let us say,
Oh,
uh, okay, I'm appending two more records. In your mind, you imagine this as plus 200 records. Okay. Now step one, load data, same as we did last time. Here we have already created the import set table, right? In your memory, you remember that import set table. So that import set table name is import staging user table. So you have to give table as existing table and you have to select the exact staging user table. All right. And now this time also you do not have data source. You have only Excel file. So you'll choose Excel file, same file. Have I saved it? Yes, I did. I'm going to submit. Now I no longer have to worry about creating a transform map. you can see that there is one new option called run transform available. Last time it was not available because system identified that for this staging table there is already a transform map available in my system. So you don't do anything else, just go ahead and do run. So when I click run transform, it will tell me that these are the available transformation maps available. We have only one available, right? So it says that only one and it gets auto selected map user data. So I give transform. So you can compare the difference. Last time it took me like 20 minutes because that is the initial first time setup, but now it took me only 2 minutes. So now again, I will refresh my user table data. You could see that these two records I just created, right? RET 546 ZDVGF, right?
You got it.
Got created up here. So first time installation alone, setting up of the configuration data alone takes some time, like 20 to 30 minutes. The next time it's all routine. You can even in fact schedule it. A lot of organization have an FTP file path, right? So in that file path, if they can drop different Excel files every day or every few hours, we can create a schedule instead of ServiceNow, and our job is done. We don't have to monitor nothing. It will automatically fetch the files. It will do transformation map, and everything can be scheduled as well. That also I will explain in detail in tomorrow's session. Any questions so far?
No
Any
questions.
questions? All right, we'll stop the recording for today.